Okay, I have way too many books that I'm reading. So I have so many books that I'm currently reading. I put them in a little stack over here. Okay, the thing about me is that when I was in like high school, I'd probably read one book at a time. Just because, my life was simpler back then, and I could go to the library, check out a book, and then you have to return it. So you know. Or if I went to the bookstore, I'd buy a book, a lot of books, and then I would read them. And I had so much free time, so much uninterrupted time. I'm an only child, and my parents worked pretty late. Like, they would pick me up kind of late. So yeah, I had a lot of time to read, and that was all I had, was one book at a time. But the thing is that when I went to college, I kind of fell out of reading for pleasure here and there. Like, I would get back into it and, but I had to read so many different books for so many different classes. And then, you have to like read a chapter of this and read a chapter of this and whatever. So then I would try to stick to one book, like a novel at a time. And then when I got to, so I moved to Japan after I graduated college and was working, and I had a friend. So I met like one of my best friends there. And she's also a reader, and we would kind of compare our reading styles, our favorite books. And I have never met anyone else who's so similar to me as a reader, like especially back then. We just always liked the same books or the same style, or like if I was reading a book and I didn't like it and I knew she might have read it, I would ask her, like, did you like it? And if she was like, no, I stopped, then I would stop, because I knew that like if she didn't like it, I wouldn't like it. But at the time, I specifically remember that I would go to her house and she would have like stacks of books, and I'm like, oh, what book are you reading? And she's like, well, I'm reading like a little bit of all of these. And I was like, really? I couldn't do that. I have to read one book at a time, or I would read like one manga series at a time, or one, I would focus on it. But then again, at the time I was living alone, I had a job, and I had some free time at my desk sometimes where I would sit and read, or at night I would read. And there wasn't any reason for me to switch around to a lot of books. But then I started getting into the habit of reading part of a nonfiction and then part of a novel and then part of the nonfiction. And, I would go back and forth. And I got less and less time to read. I did my master's degree, and I met my husband, and I moved to Korea, and then I was continuing to work, master's degree, whatever. And then, fast forward, we had kids. And so I feel like if you have kids ruin your free time and your reading life for a while. And so now one of my youngest is old enough to where sometimes on the weekend I can sit on the couch and read a little bit, and they won't bother me. So that's like a big breakthrough because before that could not happen. And the gap between my two kids is 4 years. So basically I got my oldest to the point of like, oh, I can sit on the couch and read and have some quiet time while he plays. And then I had a baby. So, or I was pregnant and then I had a baby. So yeah, it was really hard. Through both of my pregnancies, I tried to read. But then after this baby, and then he's a toddler and whatever, it's really hard to find time to read. And then he goes to daycare, and when he's not here, I come home and I have to feed myself. I have to cook, I have to clean, I have to remember like to buy things. I have to remember, like so many things. My brain is full of stuff. And I run a business, I have a bookstore, I have things going on. I try to keep up with my social life. I try to keep up with my hobbies. And the thing is, when I had my first kid, after he was probably 18 months, and that's when like the pandemic was really going strong. And I was on TikTok and I was like, I think I have ADHD. Like, what if I have ADHD? So actually, I went to a psychiatrist and I took an evaluation test, and I got diagnosed with anxiety. So she was like, I don't think you have ADHD. But in my heart of hearts, I still kind of think that I have ADHD, or it's like something, you know? Or my anxiety is just so bad that it makes it really hard for me to focus on certain things. But my focus is not the problem. I don't think me focusing on something is not that bad. Obviously, in the era we're in where everyone's on their phone, yeah, and I scroll all the time, or like I'll be watching something on my iPad and then I'll get a notification on my phone. I'm like, oh, well, I have to open it now or I'll forget. So I think it's like I have to do this right now or I'll forget. So that's been a problem in my reading life, because I'm like, well, if I start this one book, but then, but I have to go read that one now. So I have like so many things going on. Or then I come home and I'm like, well, I want to sit down, I want to rest, I want to play my game, I want to watch a show. So lately I've just been feeling this overwhelming sense of like I feel not unease, but like I don't know if I'm doing it right, you know? And I know this is like life and we made everything up and there's no right answer. But sometimes it feels like, am I doing it wrong? Like I'll start a video game and I'll get close to the end and then I'll start a different one. Or like, cause I'm investing all of this time and then the ending, I want to like savor it, or I want to like do certain things before I finish the game. Or you know, like I'm almost at the end of this drama or in the middle of a drama. I'm like, well, there's another show that just came out that all my friends are talking about. I have to watch that one before, you know, so that I can talk to my friends about it. You know, things happen like that. And anyway, so I've amassed this pile of books that I'll show you. But yeah, so I think there's this thing inside me where it's like, am I doing it wrong? Should I not be doing this? Should I just read a whole book and finish it and then move on to another book? But I consider myself a mood reader. And because I don't have lots of chunks of time to read, and I have this thing where, you know, as a mom, you're torn between so many things. And so I want to, you know, have things that I can finish. And books often take like so much time to read and like hours, you know. And so when I pick up a book, I'm like in the beginning, I'm like, oh, this is really good. And then I put it down and I look at it from afar, you know, on my shelf. And I'm like, that's going to take forever to finish. But this other thing that I want to do will take a short amount of time. So I think I just kind of follow the dopamine, or I just let my mood tell me what to do, you know? So all that being said, recently I have been reading a bunch of books and I haven't finished a lot of books. Let me see, what was the last book that I finished? Okay, so the last book that I finished was on my Kobo. I just got a Kobo like 2 Christmases ago and I really like it. It was The Secret of Redgate Farm, one of the Nancy Drew books. So I read that, and then I also read online, I read the web novel of 修学旅行で仲良くないグループに入りました. Like there's a drama too, but it's like school trip. I joined a group that I'm not close to, or that, I think that's the English title. So I read that online. And I was like, oh, I'm like getting back into reading Japanese. So that's been helping me. But then also I read a manga. I read Kimi to Nara恋をしても. I read that one because that one also has a drama. Like if it's you, I might try falling in love or whatever. It's a really short 2 volumes and then a drama. So yeah. Okay, so basically I have, and then I'll put this maybe on the screen, but I went at my bookstore. I also have another book that I don't have with me. That's a book that I bought the last time I was in Japan, which I just went to Japan recently, but the time before this, 10 years ago, I bought a book right before I was about to get on a plane to come back to Korea. Okay, so the novel that I'm talking about, I have it in my bookstore, and I did start it, and I really like it. And I'm taking notes and kind of, I'm translating it a little bit into English, but I'm also taking notes as to like what happens because it's in Japanese. I don't want to forget it. I want to learn new words. I want to use it for vocab practice and kanji practice and everything. But it's if cats disappeared from the world, it became a movie. It's in Japanese, it's called Sekai kara neko ga kieta nara, and it's by Kawamura Genki is his name. Genki Kawamura. Okay, so I have that at my bookstore, and I literally told my friend, I'm gonna read this whole thing, I'm gonna translate it, I'm gonna work on translation or like work on my Japanese again. And so I started it, I got partway through, and it's like still sitting there, and I'm like, every time I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to read that. But that takes a long time to read. So it's in, you know, it has kanji, it's in Japanese, and it's like, I haven't studied Japanese or spoken Japanese that much over the past 10 years. And so, you know, it's not just like a casual reading. It's kind of like a study project for me. So I sit down and I do part of that, and then my brain is tired. So I'm like, I have to do something else. And then I come home and I have other books to read. So I'll show you. I'm very embarrassed about this. Not embarrassed. You shouldn't be embarrassed, okay? That's the whole point of this video. You should not be embarrassed by your reading. If you're reading books, that's amazing. If you're listening to audiobooks, if you're reading manga, graphic novels, if you're reading a magazine, if you're reading, like, that's great. Please do that because we need more people to read books, okay? And you should not feel bad because, oh my gosh, there was that video where somebody was at like a book, what do you call it? A book convention thing. And they were like asking people, how many books did you read last month? And they were like, oh, it's so bad. It's like only 5, you know, or only, I don't know, I only got through 3 or whatever. Like, that's amazing, okay? We should not be feeling bad because at the end of the day, reading is entertainment, but it's also information, and it's what, however you can do it, you know, like, don't worry about how much you read or how frequently you read. Well, like, I think we should all set a goal that we should read as much as possible, but let's not, you know, be mean to ourselves. Let's not be mean to ourselves, and let's not be mean to other people, okay? But with all of that being said, I started reading this book years ago. I remember, when did it come out? See, it's signed. I got it signed. Or I didn't get it signed. I ordered one of the signed copies. 2021, okay? So The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. I love John Green. I've read most of his books. I think there's only 1 or 2 of his books that I haven't read. I've read Paper Towns. I think I read An Abundance of Catherines, or I started it and then I put it down. And then I read, of course, The Fault in Our Stars and Looking for Alaska and stuff like that. So I love John Green. I watch most of his videos, and I like listen to their podcasts and everything. His book is so good. It's so much fun. It smells really good. Book smell. And yeah, okay. So what happened was, I have recommended this to people and they finished it. I started reading this a long time ago. I got it a long time ago, started reading it a long time ago. And then look, I'm only halfway through. It's a book of essays, and they don't have to be read in a particular order. And they're kind of about random topics. And the essays are 3, 4, 5 pages. They're pretty short, and they're very good. They're very entertaining. Am I always in the mood to read this? No. But recently my aunt visited me. She came all the way to Korea. She visited me, and I told her about these books, and she was like, oh, and she sat there and basically, well, it looked like to me she read the whole thing. And I told her, you know, you read like all of that and I have not. And she's like, well, I skimmed it. It's okay. But she's like, it's very good. I'm like, I highly recommend it, even if I haven't finished it. And then I was in Nashville, because that's where I'm from. I was in Nashville for my friend's wedding when I was pregnant with my second kid. So I went to Parnassus Books finally for my first time. And I got to go and shop and whatever. And I literally saw someone with this book in their hands and I said, that one's so good. And they pointed to their friend, like, they just recommended it to me. I was like, it's so good. So I have told people that this book is good. And look, I haven't even finished it, but it's okay. Yeah. And then put that aside. So then the other book that I'm actively reading, of course, is John Green's Everything is Tuberculosis. This is also signed. I also got it a long time ago and just started it, you know, but this I'm also halfway through. I'll show you. My bookmark is a sticker someone gave me at the BTS concert. It says Arirang. So I love this book. I have watched most of the Vlogbrothers videos where they're talking about partners in health and they're talking about the fundraisers that they do, and they talk about meeting Henry, and they talk about tuberculosis, and this is a very good book. It's short. It's how many pages? 198 pages. It's pretty short, and it's very entertaining and very easy to read, even though maybe you wouldn't think that a topic like this would be easy to read. And I even told my friend yesterday to read it, and she was like, that sounds scary. Just the title sounds scary. But it's actually, it's very entertaining how this disease has been interwoven into all of, like, the fabric of all of our lives, you know? How the disease was discovered, how they thought about it, the fashion was changed, the cultures were changed, you know, everything. So it's very good, and I do recommend it. I'm not done with it. Okay, another book that I'm reading is The Wild Robot, so by Peter Brown. So this is a series of 3, and I first saw the movie, the DreamWorks movie, when it came out in theaters, and it literally made me cry, like sobbing like 4 times during that movie. It was like me and like 3 other ladies in the whole theater, and all of us were crying. It was so good. The movie is so brilliantly done, amazingly animated. The music is what I think is the best part of this whole movie. But it's a story of motherhood. It's a story of nature, of helping each other and self-discovery, and, you know, it's about a robot in the wild on this little island and learning from all the animals, you know. And I started reading it with my book club, and then my book club group is usually a pretty tight-knit group of 4 or 5 of us, and then some of them moved, some of them got really busy, and then we always have like kind of a winter break where my kids are out of school, and, you know, a lot of things are happening, and then we also have in March school starts again, so February there's also a break. So I'm really sad because we started reading this book with my book club, and then a lot of them, it kind of dwindled, you know? And I'm very sad about it, and it's hard for me to, like, you know, like, oh man, every time I look at this book, I'm like, we didn't really finish it in my book club. Also, there was another book club that I joined, and they had just started reading this book at the same time that the book club that I made was reading it. And so I made a lot of friends through this book, but I still haven't finished it. But the thing is that I brought it home because I'm like, maybe if I'm at home, I'll read it more than if it just sits in my bookstore, and because I only go there sometimes, or I'm only there to do certain things. I'm not usually there to just sit and read because I can walk from my house. So the thing is that I started reading it to my kid because it has like some pictures and, you know, it's mostly words. So because I just started feeling like I want more time with my kids where I'm reading to them and stuff, because, you know, with my older kid, I feel like, because there's a gap between them, that there's so many things that I want to do with him that I can't do because I have my little one. But then my little one is like a little bit old enough to like sit and, you know, listen to us read, or he'll play around us while we read. So I've been reading The Wild Robot to my son, and he loves it. And like, I'll be washing dishes and he'll be like, Mommy, when can we read the robot book? And I'm like, oh, this is warming my heart. So this is a book that I'm not worried about finishing, like, myself, because I'm reading it to him. And some of my best memories are when my parents were reading books to me, you know? It's just like it's like the best feeling in the world when you're curled up somewhere on the couch in the bed and someone's reading to you a story. It's magical. So that one I do recommend because I love the movie and I've read a lot of the book and it's very good. And my kid is 6, so I think it's pretty good as a chapter book to read to kids. It is longer than a lot of chapter books, but it's also I think it's very quick to read, honestly. But then now he's already like, are there other books? So he already knows there's a sequel and a third one. So yeah, we'll probably read all of those. Okay, another book that I want to read, or I'm kind of reading, is the first one to this is called I Want to Die, but I Want to Eat Tteokboki by Peg Sehi. And the thing about this book is that we read the first one with my book club, and we were basically done, almost done with the book. And I already knew there was a second one. But we were reading it and the author actually passed away. So it's a really sad situation. And it makes me torn when I read it because sometimes I'm like, oh, she's getting better or she's getting help or whatever. And it's really, really, disheartening and sad. But I still think that her books are really, really interesting and really good read. And it's between her and her psychiatrist, and she recorded all of her interactions, and it's translated into English by Anton Her, he's you can find him on Instagram, but he and I have like briefly talked through DMs on Instagram. He's really cool. I really like all of his translations, and he picks really good books to translate. But yeah, so I do like reading this because it feels very comforting when you're having a really hard day or you're having a hard time and you read part of this and it's just like, she's like, oh, but this is hard, and oh, but I had a fight with this person, and her psychiatrist is like, okay, but why do you think that, or what happened to, and I've done therapy, so I love therapy and I'm an advocate for therapy, but reading a book like this can sometimes just be really, really comforting. But it's hard because even though it's comforting to me, it's sad because I know that the author passed away. So yeah, I will read this, and it does help me when I'm in a sad mood. So that's why I'm saying, like, I have books that I read in a certain mood, and next, this is a book called Amateur Hour, Motherhood and Essays and Swear Words by Kimberly Harrington. I love this book. It's so funny. She's hilarious. Literally, I will just die laughing reading this book. So this book really helps me when I'm having a hard, day as a mom, or I'm having a hard day in general. I'm like, she's funny and she is very sarcastic and abrasive, and, when I don't feel like being polite anymore and I'm like, she is so funny. The back of this book says, being a mother is a gift. Where's my receipt? And then she had a whole chapter on how Mother's Day is horrible because it's a day when you're already off. It's a Sunday, so like nobody even has to you don't even get a day off for it, and it's just so funny. She's really hilarious, and I got this a long time ago, and I've just been reading it. It's also kind of a book of essays, so I just read it whenever I'm in the mood. But then last night I was like, oh yeah, I want to read this. And I was laughing, hilarious. And then I get to a chapter that's kind of sad and deep and emotional. I was like, oh my gosh. So then I had to put it down and read something else. You know what I mean? And then I also when I told you I went to Japan recently. So I went to Japan and I went to the best place on earth. It's called Book Off. So Book Off is a used bookstore chain in Japan. And I went in Tokyo to a Book Off. And I was in search for this one book, which I actually did find, this one manga. And then I was there and I was just looking among the shelves. And I was like, oh, that's right. I didn't ever read Chihayafuru. So this book, it's a manga, and Chihayafuru is about the card game called Karuta, and I actually played Karuta when I was in Japan. I had a friend who was really into Karuta. She like had a whole, actually we played in karaoke one time. Like we went to a karaoke booth and played Karuta because they have mics and stuff. It's a game where you memorize 100 poems. Well, normally you memorize them, but at the time I didn't know them. So she was like, we'll play on easy mode where I'll just read the second verse and you can try to get it. But you put the cards out and there's a beginning part of the poem that the person will read out. And then the second part of the poem is on a card. And whoever smacks the card first gets it, and whoever has the most cards at the end will win the game or the round or whatever. But I played it, and I remember them being like, oh yeah, Chihayafuru is really good, everyone should read it, and there's an anime, like the show came out, and I never watched the show, I never read the book, and when I was there at Book Off, look, here's my receipt from Book Off as my bookmark, I was like, oh yeah, I need to, so I bought 3 of them, which I know there's a lot more, but I'm like, they're cheap, they're on sale because they're at Book Off, and I might as well start it, you know, I might as well read it. And so I started it, and it's very cute and very good, and I really like it. The thing, again, with reading in Japanese, I have to look up some of the kanji, or I have to take a break to do something, and then like it's hard, you know, like, so I really love reading this, and I'm just, it has to be the right mood for me to read this. So that's that. And then the other thing is that I will sometimes read things on my phone, and then I also have a Kobo. So that's my thing. This is my, look at this. This is my, you know, crazy reading life right there. So I think it's perfectly fine to do this. I'm enabling you. You can do this. It's fine. You can read a little bit of a book at a time. And also, I think it works because I have a pretty good memory. Like, I have a very good memory. And I can remember details of books. And even if I don't, I can go back and be like, oh yeah, that's what was happening. So I'm not, and all of these are pretty recent things that I'm reading. They're not from like this one's from years ago, but it's, the topic changes every time you pick a new essay. So I don't feel, like some people say I can't do that because I won't remember, or you know, there are some people who are like, I have to read one book at a time. And I used to think that too. But yeah, this is my reading life as a busy mom, as a business owner, as a person who has like 9 million things going on, hobbies, whatever. And like sometimes I just come home and I want to play a game, or I want to watch a show, and then all of these books are looking at me and I'm like, I'll get to you when I'm in the mood. But yeah, I really think it's fine, and everyone can just enjoy your reading life, and tell me in the comments what you're reading, what you think, if you've read any of these, or if you read to your kids, what books do you like to read to your kids? What kind of books do you like to read when you're in a happy mood versus a sad mood? Yeah, just let me know. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!